So now we're going to line up the head onto the body. You want to make sure that the eyes are centered to the front of the body. And then I like to use double-pointed knitting needles to hold my head in place. So I'll put one on each side here just to make sure that the head stays put while I am sewing it together. Now time to sew the head on. So the way I usually sew them on is I take the strand and then I put it through the post of the top stitch. It's not through the loops, but through the post. And you go through the bottom and then you go through the head stitch. So you'll see what I'm doing it right here. So you go through the post of the stitch and on the head, and then you go through the post of the stitch on the body that lines up with that stitch. Sometimes if your pieces aren't lining up perfectly, I will go through 2 posts. Just depends on when you get around to the front. If the eyes are even, whatever you need to do to make them even, you can go through 1 or 2 stitch posts. Once all the stitches are sewn together, I weave in the tail and I go up through the head and wrap around a stitch, but if you pull it through kind of slow, then it blends in. You just don't want to pull it too tight, like I did right here. I want to loosen it up a little bit. If you leave it a little loose, then it doesn't show. It blends right on in, and then you just trim your tail, and you can't even see where you sewed it in. Now we're going to make the nose. Start with a slip knot, and then you are going to chain 6. Now working in the chain, you're going to make an increase in the second chain from the hook. So make 2 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. Then continuing on in the chain, you're going to make 1 single crochet in the next 3 chains. Now in the last chain, you're going to make 3 single crochets in that same chain stitch. For the back of the chain, you're going to continue on around to the back side, and now you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 3 chain stitches. Then just 1 single crochet in that last back side of that last chain. You will now have a total of 12 single crochet stitches. Continuing around, you're going to do an increase in the first stitch, so 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and then you're going to do an increase in the second stitch, so 2 in the first stitch and then 2 in the second stitch. And then you're going to do 4 single crochet. And then an increase in the next stitch. And an increase in the next stitch. And then you're going to do 4 single crochet. And then the last round, you're just going to do 1 single crochet all the way around for a total of 16 single crochet. When you finish that round, you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch and fasten off, leave a long tail so you can sew the nose onto the head. So now we're going to sew the nose onto the head. I like to put it just under the eyes. I will use my double pointed knitting needles to secure it while I'm sewing onto the head. So to sew on, I will go through the stitch of the nose and then just put my needle through where the stitch matches up on the head so that it's not far away from the nose. You don't want to see these sewn on stitches, so you want to stay pretty close to where the nose meets the head. It's not an exact science, so you just kind of have to eyeball it. But as long as you're going through a stitch on the head right under the stitch of the nose, you should be good. And do that all the way around back to the beginning. Once you get back to the beginning, weave your tail in up through the nose and go around the stitches. Do it slow so you don't pull it too tight, and then it will blend right on in. So now we're going to make the ears. So start with a slip knot and the chain 2 magic ring method. You're going to chain 2, and then you're going to do 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. For round 2, you're going to make 6 increases, so 2 single crochets in each stitch for a total of 12 single crochet. So for round 3, you're going to do 5 single crochet, and then you're going to make 2 increases in the next 2 stitches. So you're going to do 5 single crochet and then 2 stitches in the 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 single crochet in the following stitch. And then you're going to single crochet in the 5 remaining stitches for a total of 14 single crochet. When you get to the last stitch, you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch and fasten off and leave a long tail to sew the ear onto the head. Set this one aside and then follow the same steps to make a second ear. Now it's time to make the horns. We're going to do that on the very top, right here, and then right here. We will make the horns using a big bobble stitch method. Using your horn color, you're going to make a slip knot, and then you are going to insert your hook into the stitch where you want to make your big bobble. So we're going to go in right here, and then we're going to secure our yarn with a slip stitch. Then you're going to chain one, and you're going to yarn over on your hook, insert your hook through the stitch, yarn over and pull it through. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, and you're going to yarn over and pull it through 2 loops. And repeat this. Yarn over through this stitch, pull it through and through 2 loops. You're going to do this a total of 5 times, and you will end up with 6 loops on your hook. And then once you have the 6 loops on your hook, you're going to put the yarn over and pull it through all 6 loops. Now you're going to chain 1 and then slip stitch back into the same stitch that your bobble is in. Now fasten it off by pulling the yarn through and cutting your tail. Leave it a little long so you can weave both tails in and tie them off. This secures the horn. Now you're just going to repeat this same step for the other horn on the other side. Just make sure that it's even across the head. Now I like to take a look and make sure that they're even, and then we are going to flip it over, and we're going to take the tails and we're going to put them through the back of the head. So you're going to put both tails from the same horn through the same stitch in the back of the head, so then you can just tie them in a knot and secure them, and then you'll just stuff the knot into the head. do the same thing for the other horn. And last thing, we're going to sew the ears onto the head. I like to trim the back tails off of the ear before I sew them on. It's just a personal preference. We don't have any use for them, so just trim them off so they're out of the way. Now I take the ear and pinch it together and put the tail through so that it kind of pinches the ear shut. And then you can use that same tail and just sew it on right under the horn. You're just going to repeat the same thing for the second ear. And here's the final product. Please feel free to tag me on Instagram and comment below what you think about this tutorial. Thanks for watching.